The hovercar glided silently over the edge of the city as neon lights blinked below. Rayan Vale, now a millionaire tech founder, sat in the back seat. He was dressed in a sharp black suit, holding a tablet screen filled with schedules, graphs, and figures. His company, PulseLink Systems, had just signed a deal to expand Earth's quantum network to Mars. The board called it historic. Rayan called it another step, but today something felt empty. The sky was dim, with clouds drifting over the golden light of the setting sun. As the car turned toward the old district, Rayan looked out the window. A rusted bus stop came into view, one he remembered from his university days. And there, standing near it, was a woman holding a child. Rayan leaned forward, frowning. "Pause visual," he said to the car's AI. The window display froze like a photo. He zoomed in with 2 fingers. The woman was wearing a long gray coat. Her hair was tied back loosely. She looked tired, but familiar. His heart skipped a beat. "Alara?" he whispered. The name brought back a wave of memories. He hadn't seen her in years, not since the night he left for the off-world contract. They had argued. She had asked him to stay. He had chosen his dream. That was the last time. Now here she was, standing quietly at the old bus stop, holding a small baby wrapped in a blue blanket. Rayan's voice cracked. "Zoom further." The child's face was small and calm, eyes closed. His skin was light, with a soft curl of dark hair at the top. The baby's hand moved slightly, as if dreaming. The car's AI asked, "Would you like to stop?" Rayan hesitated. He looked at the tablet again, filled with graphs and numbers. Then at the woman, the past he had left behind. She hadn't noticed. The car. She was looking down at the child, gently rocking him as she waited. "No," Rayan finally said, leaning back. "Keep driving." The car moved forward again, smooth and quiet, but Rayan's mind didn't move on. It stayed there, at that old bus stop, back at his sky-high apartment. Rayan stood by the glass wall, watching the city lights flicker. The view was perfect. He had everything he ever wanted. Fame, power, wealth. So why did he feel like he had lost something? He replayed the frozen image of Alara and the baby again and again. It couldn't be her child, could it? No, she would have told him. She was never the type to hide something so big, unless... A sharp knock broke his thoughts. A small drone floated in, beeping softly. "Encrypted message received, sir," it sighed, projecting a glowing screen. The message had no sender ID, but the signature, the signal code, was one he remembered well. It was Alara's old encryption key from their university research days. Rayan opened it. Just 5 words appeared on the screen. "He's yours. They're coming for him." His hands went cold. He read the message again, slower this time. The words burned into his mind. His? The baby? And who were they? He turned quickly, activating his system controls. "Run a trace on this encryption," he ordered the drone. "Locate Alara." The drone beeped again. "Processing." Rayan took a deep breath and stared at the screen, heart pounding. He thought. He had left the past behind, but now the past had found him, and it was carrying the child. The rain fell softly over the city. Neon signs reflected in the wet streets as Rayan Vale sat in his silent apartment, still staring at the last message. "He's yours. They're coming for him." He had read it 10 times, and each time it felt more real. The encryption code used in the message was old but familiar. Only one person had ever used that signal key. Alara, his ex-girlfriend, his research partner. And once, the only person who truly believed in his dream. His hands trembled slightly as he placed the tablet down. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to remember that it was 5 years ago. Rayan and Alara had been students at the University of Neo Mumbai. They were both brilliant, both dreamers, and both poor. Rayan had the ideas, and Alara had the patience to test every one of them. They worked on late nights, surrounded by broken circuits, half-eaten noodles, and piles of notebooks. It was during those nights that they built something special, a prototype transmitter that could send signals through quantum space, faster than any known method. A secret signal system that could change the future. Had promised to finish it together, but then came the offer. PulseLink Systems had spotted Rayan's early work and wanted him to lead a secret mission, building the first interplanetary quantum relay near Saturn. It was a dream job, but it meant leaving Earth, leaving Alara. He still remembered their last conversation. "Just wait a little," Alara had begged. "Let's finish this together." "I can't," Rayan had said. "This is bigger than both of us. And what about us?" He had said nothing. The silence was the answer. And when he returned 2 years later, she was gone. No messages. No signals. No ELRA. Now, as he sat with the glow of the city behind him, Rayan realized something. He hadn't just walked away from ELARA. He had walked away from something else. A soft beep pulled him back to the present. The tracer drone floated into view. "Target located," the AI said. "Subject, Alara Ven. Location, Sector 9, Old Town District." A 3D map lit up on the glass wall, showing the exact building. It was a small, damaged housing unit near the city's outer dome, one of the oldest parts of Neo-Mumbai. With weak shields and poor air filters, Rayan's chest tightened. That place was no place for a child. He didn't wait. Within minutes, he had changed into a simple coat, locked down his system, and stepped into his hover car. This time he gave the command himself. "Sector 9, fastest route." The car sped through the sky lanes, dipping low toward the older parts of the city. The tall, shining towers gave way to gray buildings with broken lights and rusted antennas. People here lived without the comfort of AI-assisted homes or clean air walls. As Rayan looked out, he felt a strange mix of guilt and fear. What had Alara been through all these years? And what about the baby, his baby? Was it possible? He didn't know what he would say to her. He didn't know if she would even talk to him, but he had to try for answers, for her. And for the child, who might be his. The car slowed near a narrow alley. Rayan stepped out, his shoes splashing in shallow puddles. He looked up at the building shown on the map. A dim light blinked above the door. He took a deep breath and walked toward it. Each step felt heavier than the last. He wasn't the same man who had left years ago, and he knew once that door opened, his life might never be the same again. Rayan stood in front of the old metal door. Paint peeled from the walls, and a faint hum came from a broken light above. He raised his hand to knock, but stopped halfway. What would he say? Would she even open the door? His mind was full of questions, but he pushed them aside. He took a deep breath and knocked. A few moments passed. Then he heard soft footsteps. The door opened just a little. A pair of tired eyes peeked through. It was her. "Alara," Rayan said quietly. The door didn't move. She didn't speak. "I saw you at the bus stop," he continued. "With the baby." Still silence. "Alara, I got your message." Her eyes narrowed. Then the door opened fully. She looked different, thinner, paler, but her eyes were the same, strong, smart, and full of quiet fire. "You shouldn't have come," she said. "I had to," Rayan replied. "You said, 'He's mine.'" Alara stepped aside. "Come in, but don't stay long." The room was small, with cracked walls and simple furniture. A single bed, a few chairs, and a soft humming sound coming from a small machine in the corner. The air inside was better than outside. Alara had set up a basic air filter. On a small mattress lay the baby. He was asleep, breathing gently. Rayan moved closer. He looked down at the small face, peaceful, innocent. "He's really mine?" he asked softly. Alara nodded. "His name is Kale. He's 2 years old." Rayan knelt beside the child. "Why?" Didn't you tell me? I tried, she said, but you were gone. No replies, no signal. Then when you came back, you were already famous, powerful. I didn't want to pull you into this. This? Rayan looked up. What do you mean? Alara walked to a drawer and pulled out a small cube-shaped device. It glowed with faint blue lines. Do you remember? Our old signal prototype, she asked. Of course, Rayan said. It's the reason PulseLink hired me. Well, I kept working on it, she said, placing the cube on the table. But something happened when I was pregnant. The device started acting strange, picking up patterns I never programmed. She turned the cube on. It projected a soft wave of light in the air. The wave moved, almost like music. But there were no speakers. It's not just tech anymore, Alara said. Kale can hear it. Even when it's silent, he responds to it. Rayan stared at her. You mean he can read quantum signals? Alara nodded slowly. Not read. Feel like it's part of him. Rayan looked back at the baby, stunned. If this was true, it meant Kale was more than just a child. He was something new, something never seen before. That's why I sent the message, Alara said. Someone else knows. I don't know how, but I've seen the signs, strange shadows. Devices blinking when they shouldn't. Someone's watching us. Who? Rayan asked. I don't know, she whispered. But they're not from here. I think they're not even human. Rayan stood up, his heart racing. I can protect you both, he said. Come with me. I have a secure station near the lunar belt. No one can track us there. Alara looked unsure. Why now, Rayan? After all this time? He stepped closer. Because I made a mistake when I left you. But now I have a second chance to fix it, to protect what matters. Alara looked at Kale, then at Rey and Dot. After a long pause, she nodded. All right. But we leave tonight. Outside the building, hidden behind an old air vent, a small silver drone blinked silently. It had no name, but it had a target, and it had found him. The night was dark, and clouds covered the stars as Rayan's hovercar flew low across the edge of Neo Mumbai. Inside, Alara held Kale close to her chest while Rayan sat beside her, eyes fixed on the navigation screen. We'll be safe once we reach the launch pad, Rayan said quietly. My station orbits behind the moon. It's hidden. No signals can get in or out without my access. Alara didn't answer. She looked out the window, her mind full of worry. Kale was asleep, but even in sleep, his small fingers twitched, as if reacting to sounds no one else could hear. 30 minutes later, the hovercar landed inside a private hangar hidden beneath an old observatory. The guards at the entrance scanned Rayan's face and stepped aside without question. Inside, a sleek, silver escape shuttle stood ready. Rayan helped Alara into the ship and then carried Kale gently to a small bed inside the control cabin. We'll launch in 5 minutes, he said. Alara nodded. Her eyes were still locked on Kale. I've seen strange things. Rayan, he wakes up at night, talking in patterns like numbers. Sometimes machines around us just turn on like they know. He's there. Rayan sat beside her. I believe you. I scanned his DNA while you weren't looking. She frowned. What? Just a basic scan, he explained. Nothing invasive. And what I found, it's beyond anything I've seen before. He tapped the screen beside him. A 3D image of Kale's brain appeared. Bright points of energy danced inside like stars in motion. His neural pathways are more active than a grown adult's. And here, Rayan pointed. This region, this is where humans process sound. But his is glowing even when there's silence. That means he's receiving something. Constantly. Alara's voice shook. What does it mean? Rayan paused. Then said slowly, it means Kale might be the first human who was born connected to quantum frequencies, naturally, without a device. He's not just reacting to signals, he is a signal. Ilara covered her mouth, shocked. But how? She whispered, I think it happened during your pregnancy. The prototype must have activated while you were near it. Maybe Kale's brain picked up on the energy and changed as he developed. And now? Ilara asked. Now, Rayan said. He might be something the universe has never seen before. Suddenly, the lights in the ship blinked. A soft alarm buzzed from the dashboard. Warning, the AI said. Unidentified drone detected near perimeter. Rayan jumped to the controls and pulled up the outside camera feed. A small silver drone hovered just outside the hangar wall. It's watching us, Ilara whispered. Rayan's eyes narrowed. We're leaving, now. He slammed the launch sequence. The ship lifted smoothly into the air, engines humming with soft power. Below, the drone turned slowly, then flew off into the shadows dot as the ship broke through the clouds and entered the upper atmosphere. Kale stirred. His eyes opened slightly, glowing faintly under the light. He's awake, Ilara said. Holding him. Kale looked around, calm and quiet. Then, in a soft voice, he said a word that made both Rayan and Ilara freeze. Coming, Rayan turned. What did he say? Kale looked at his father and repeated softly, They're coming. Then he closed his eyes and went back to sleep. Ilara held him tighter. Rayan turned back to the controls, his mind racing. Whatever Kale was sensing, it wasn't over. Someone out there knew about him, and they were coming. The stars stretched across the black sky as the small ship floated in Earth's orbit. Below them, the blue planet turned slowly. Above, the moon glowed quietly. Rayan sat in the pilot's seat, guiding the ship toward a dark-side lunar station, his personal lab and safe zone. No public systems knew of its location. It was invisible to outside signals. Behind him, Ilara stood near the crib where Kale lay asleep again. His tiny hands were still, but the ship's eye showed something strange, unusual. Signal detected, the AI spoke. Quantum fluctuations surrounding passenger, Kale Vale. Ilara stepped back, surprised. It's happening again. Rayan watched the screen. Waves of data were forming around Kale, patterns of energy that moved like whispers. The signals didn't match anything in the known database. These aren't from Earth, Rayan said slowly. Or the solar system. These might be alien frequencies. Ilara's face went pale. Then someone really is watching. Rayan nodded. And they're not human. An hour later, the ship landed smoothly on the hidden platform built into the dark side of the moon. The station was quiet, protected by smart metal walls, auto turrets, and deep scan blockers. It was built for secret experiments, but tonight, it would be used for something more important, protection. Inside, the lab looked cold and clean. Blue lights ran across the walls. Soft hums came from machines scanning for life forms, frequencies, and hidden transmissions. Rayan led Ilara and Kale into a shielded room with thick doors. This is the safest place I have, he said. No signal can enter or leave without my voice print. Ilara sat down, holding Kale close. What do we do now? Rayan turned on a monitor showing space traffic logs. He tapped quickly, checking for anything unusual. Then his face grew tense. There was a stealth ship near Earth's upper orbit, he said. It appeared for only 8 seconds before vanishing. But I caught its echo. You think it followed us? Ilara asked. I think it was already looking for you, Rayan replied. And now it knows where you are. Suddenly, the station's alarm lights blinked red. A loud buzz filled the air. Warning, the AI said. Unidentified vessel approaching outer perimeter. Speed, high. Identity, unknown. Rayan jumped to the control panel. Show visual. The screen lit up with an image of a dark, long ship, unlike any human design. It moved like it was alive, gliding smoothly across the surface of the moon toward the station. Ilara gasped. "That's not from Earth." "No," Rayan said. "It's Threxel design. I've only seen it once in PulseLink's alien file archives." "Who are they?" "An old race. They live in the void. They collect mind signals. They believe everything that thinks has a frequency. And now they want Kale." He ran to the defense panel and activated the outer shields. Turrets rose from the station walls. Beams of light lit up the moon's surface. The strange ship paused, then launched a silent, glowing probe toward the station. It hit the shield and bounced off. Rayan breathed a little easier. The shield's holding, but Kale stirred in Ilara's arms. His eyes opened. He looked at the wall and raised one hand. Suddenly, every screen in the lab flickered. The eye voice said, "New signal detected. Origin, Kale Vale." Lines of strange symbols began to fill the screen's patterns that looked like messages. "He's talking back," Ilara whispered. "To them," Rayan said. Kale wasn't afraid. His hand remained raised, calm and steady. His lips moved silently, as if replying to someone far away. Then just as quickly, the symbols stopped. The outside ship turned and vanished into space. The alarm lights turned off. Rayan stared at Kale. "What just happened?" Ilara held Kale closer, whispering, "He told them something." Rayan nodded slowly. "He told them to go away." Kale yawned and closed his eyes again, peacefully falling asleep. For now, the danger had passed. But Rayan knew this was just the beginning. The station returned to silence. Outside, the stars twinkled over the quiet moon surface. Inside, Rayan Vale sat at the edge of the lab table, watching Kale sleep peacefully in the glass-walled nursery. He still couldn't believe it. His son, just 2 years old, had stopped an alien ship without a single word. "Is he okay?" Rayan asked softly. Ilara nodded, sitting nearby with tired eyes. "He's fine. He always sleeps deeply after those moments, but it drains him." Rayan looked at the security monitors again. That ship didn't attack. It could have. It was stronger than our defenses. "That's because Kale told them to leave," Ilara said. "He wasn't scared. He was in control." Rayan's voice dropped to a whisper. "What kind of child can do that?" Later that night, Rayan went into the observation room. He placed his hand on the glass between him and Kale. The boy lay curled up in a soft bed, breathing gently. "He looks like you," Rayan whispered. Memories returned again. Ilara's laughter in the lab, their old arguments, their dreams. He had left all of it behind for power, for science. But what had it given him? Money, fame, and a hollow feeling inside. Now, Kale had filled that emptiness with just one glance. Rayan stayed there for a long time, watching him. Then he made a quiet promise to himself. "I wasn't there when you were born," he said, "but I'm here now, and I will protect you, no matter what." The next morning, Rayan and Ilara ran more tests. They didn't force Kale to do anything, but even when he played, strange things happened. Machines turned on when he touched them. Screens showed patterns he never learned. When music played, he tapped in perfect rhythm, matching hidden frequencies the computers didn't pick up. "He's syncing with everything," Ilara said, amazed. Rayan nodded. "His brain isn't just listening to the world, it's connecting to it, like a live signal." Ilara looked at Rayan. "Then the Threxel were right. He is the signal-born." Rayan frowned. "That name, I've read it before. Old alien data, legends from deep space. What does it mean?" "It means they believe he's the one who can understand the universal signal, the one that connects every mind, every machine, every life form in the galaxy." Ilara whispered, "Then it's more than just them. Others might come." Rayan's eyes hardened. "Then we have to prepare." Rayan moved fast. He activated his private network and contacted trusted scientists, engineers, and defense experts, people who owed him favors, people he trusted with secrets. He didn't tell them everything about Kale, only that something important had arrived. Called it Project Signalburn. Elara watched as Rayan worked day and night, organizing equipment, building shields, and creating learning tools for Kale. "You're different now," she told him one evening. "You were always chasing stars. Now, you're building a future." Rayan looked at her with soft eyes. "Because this time, the stars are chasing us, and I'm not running away." Elara smiled gently. For the first time in years, she saw the man she once loved, not the rich inventor, not the cold genius, but the real Rayan. Meanwhile, Kale continued to grow. He played, laughed, and sometimes looked at the stars with a quiet wonder, as if listening to distant voices. One night, Rayan sat beside him and asked Kale, "What do you hear when everything is quiet?" Kale smiled. "I hear the sky talking." Rayan looked confused. "What does it say?" Kale placed his small hand on Rayan's chest. "It says, 'You're ready.'" Rayan's eyes widened. "Ready for what?" Kale didn't answer. He just leaned against his father and closed his eyes. For the first time, Rayan truly felt it. This child, his child, was not just a gift. He was a message from the future, and Rayan would do everything he could to protect that future. The lunar station was quiet, hidden in the darkness of the moon's far side. Days had passed since the Threxel ship disappeared. Rayan hoped they had given up, but deep down, he knew the silence would not last. Kale played calmly in the lab's soft light room, drawing strange shapes on a tablet. The symbols looked like music, but no one taught him this. It came from somewhere deep inside him, somewhere beyond Earth. Elara stood nearby, watching Kale. "He's changing," she whispered, more focused, like he knows something's coming. Rayan nodded. "We have to be ready." That night, as Rayan checked the outer defense systems, the alarm lights turned red again. The AI spoke with a serious tone. "Multiple unknown vessels approaching. Speed high. Cloaking detected. Identity confirmed. Threxel fleet." Rayan's heart pounded. "How many?" "3 ships, medium class, armed." He ran to Elara. "They found us." And this time, they didn't come to talk. Elara held Kale tightly. "What do we do?" Rayan turned to the control room. "We hold them back." Outside, the moon's surface lit up with flashes as the Threxel ships began their attack. Energy blasts hit the shield walls. The station trembled. Rayan activated the turret system. Tall machines rose from the ground, firing back with precision. He had prepared for this moment. "I didn't want war," he said through clenched teeth, "but I won't let them take him." Inside the lab, Elara stayed in the shielded chamber. With Kale, the boy didn't cry. He stood still, eyes closed, hands slightly raised. "Elara," Rayan called through the comms. "If they break through, take the emergency pod and leave." "I'm not leaving without you," she answered firmly. Suddenly, a loud blast rocked the station. One of the outer walls cracked. The air pressure sensors started flashing. Rayan looked at the live feed. One Threxel drone had breached a lower tunnel. It was coming in. He ran from the control room, grabbing a pulse blocker gun, non-lethal but strong enough to knock out machines. He rushed toward the tunnel. The hallway was dark and shaking. Metal dust filled the air. Rayan moved fast, heart pounding, weapon ready. Then he saw a tall silver drone floating through the corridor. Scanning with red eyes, turned toward him. Rayan fired. The pulse wave hit the drone's side. It buzzed loudly, sparks flying, and crashed to the ground. But more were coming. He turned and ran back. Inside the lab, Kale opened his eyes. He looked up at the ceiling as if listening to a distant voice. "Elara," he said softly. "They don't want to hurt me. They want to use me." Elara knelt beside him. "Why, Kale?" "They think I'm the key," he said. To something big, are you? She asked. Kale touched his chest. I don't know. But I won't let them take me. Rayan returned to the control room, breathing hard. We need to overload the shield with a false signal. If they think the station is collapsing, they might pull back. The eye responded. Overload sequence ready. But warning, risk of damage to core systems. Rayan didn't hesitate. Do it. The station lights flashed bright blue. A deep pulse echoed across the moon's surface like a cry in the darkness. The Threxel ships paused. Their scanning beams flickered. Then, one by one, they turned dot and left, vanished into the stars. Everything went quiet. Rayan sat in his chair, exhausted. The station was damaged, but still alive. Kale walked into the room and hugged his father. You stopped them, Rayan said. Kale shook his head. No, we did. Ilara smiled and joined them. They'll be back, Rayan nodded. Let them come. Next time we'll be stronger. Because now, Rayan wasn't just a tech genius or a rich inventor. He was a father, and nothing in the universe could take that away. The lunar station was silent again, but the memory of the Threxel attack still echoed in the walls. Cracks ran along the corridors, lights flickered, and repair drones worked nonstop to fix the damage. Rayan stood at the center of his control room, looking at the galaxy map. Red points marked the last known locations of the alien ships. They left, he said, but they'll return. Ilara stood behind him, holding Kale's hand. We can't keep running forever. Rayan turned to her. We won't, this time. We call for help, not just for us, but for all of Earth. The next day, Rayan activated his private satellite signal and connected with top Earth officials. Scientists, military commanders, and leaders from powerful tech groups appeared on hologram screens. Why are we here, Mr. Vale? One officer asked. I'm not speaking today as a businessman, Rayan said. I'm speaking as a father. He showed them a recording. Kale standing calmly while alien drones surrounded the station, then lifting his hand, sending strange signals that forced the Threxel to retreat. This is my son, Rayan said. He was born with a rare gift, a connection to quantum signals beyond anything we've seen. The aliens believe he's something special, something they want to control. There was silence. Then a woman in a white lab coat spoke. If what you're saying is true, this child may be humanity's first step into the next stage of evolution. He's more than that, Rayan replied. He's a message. A sign that humanity isn't behind anymore. We're ready to stand up. But we can't do it alone. One by one, the leaders began to agree. We will help, said the Earth Defense Officer. We've always feared alien invasion. Now we have a reason to unite. Weeks passed. Earth moved quickly. Rayan returned to Earth with Ilara and Kale. Under heavy protection. A hidden base was built deep under the Himalayan mountains, Project Signalburn headquarters. The top minds in the world came together to study Kale's ability, improve defenses, and learn how to respond to future alien threats. Kale, now living in a safe environment, continued to grow. He learned to control his signals better, speak to machines with thoughts, and even calm nervous systems around him with gentle waves of energy. He's not a weapon, Ilara reminded them. He's a child. Rayan made sure everyone understood that. We're not building an army. He said, we're building understanding. And Kale is the bridge. One evening, Rayan sat on a quiet balcony of the mountain base, looking up at the stars. Ilara joined him. You ever wonder how life would have been if you stayed? Rayan smiled. Every day. But maybe this was the path we were meant to take. If I hadn't left, Kale may never have been born this way. Ilara nodded. Do you think we're ready now? Rayan looked out at the stars, brighter than ever. No, he said. But we're not alone anymore. Humanity is awake. And that's the first step. Across the world, news of the Signalburn reached the public. People didn't panic. Instead, they were inspired. A child with power and a father who once left everything, now standing to protect all of Earth. Schools began teaching quantum science to young children. Tech companies created safer AI tools. The world shifted from fear to curiosity, and deep in the mountains, Cale stood in a glass observatory, eyes fixed on the stars. "They're watching again," he said one day. "Who?" Rayan asked. Cale smiled. "The ones who are afraid. But also the ones who are hopeful." Rayan placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "Then let them watch," he said. "Let them see what humans can become." 3 months had passed since the Threxel left. Project Signalburn had grown into a global mission. Nations shared knowledge, satellites watched the skies, and a new kind of peace spread across the world. But Rayan couldn't rest. Something deep in his heart told him this wasn't the end. One night, Cale stood on the observation deck again, gazing at the stars. The glass above showed a clear view of a distant galaxy. He closed his eyes. "They're speaking again," he whispered. Reyan, who had been quietly watching nearby, walked over. "The Threxel?" Cale slowly nodded. "But this time they're not angry, they're afraid." "Afraid of what?" Cale looked up at his father. "Afraid of us." The next morning, strange signals began to appear across Earth space stations. Unknown codes, symbols, waves of static that turned into shapes. Rayan, Ilara, and the team of scientists worked for hours decoding them. Finally, the pattern became clear. "It's a message," said Dr. Mira, one of the top quantum experts. "But it's not a threat." Rayan leaned forward. "What is it?" She smiled slightly. "It's a request." Everyone in the room went silent. "A request for what?" Ilara asked. "To meet, to talk, somewhere safe." After many days of planning, the meeting was arranged. Not in space, not on Earth, but on Mars, a neutral place where no side had the advantage. Rayan didn't want Cale to go. It could be a trap. But Cale looked at him calmly. "If I don't go, nothing will change." Ilara touched Rayan's hand. He was born for this. And so the ship launched. Rayan, Ilara, Cale, and a small group of Earth's representatives, heading toward the red planet. The journey was quiet. Stars passed silently. Cale stayed calm, sitting by the window, humming softly to himself. Ilara leaned toward him. "Do you know what they'll ask?" Cale shook his head. "But I know what we need to say." When they landed on Mars, a ship was already there. Sleek, silver, floating just above the ground. Not a warship, something more graceful. The doors opened. And for the first time, humans saw the Threxel. They were tall, glowing faintly, with smooth skin and large, wise eyes. Not monsters. Not machines, they looked tired. Cale walked forward. Without fear, Rayan held his breath. Then the Threxel leader stepped forward and placed its hand over its heart. Cale did the same. They didn't speak with mouths. They spoke with thought, with light, with feeling. And in that moment, something incredible happened. Not just a connection. A peace. Hours later, Rayan sat with Ilara outside the ship, watching the orange sky of Mars turn darker. "They don't want to conquer," Rayan said softly. "They were just afraid of what they didn't understand." Ilara nodded. "And now?" Rayan smiled. "Now they want to learn, with us." The journey back to Earth felt lighter. Something had changed. Cale had opened a door, not just between two species, but between fear and hope, between war and wisdom. When they landed, the world was watching. The story of Mars spread like light across the planet. Not war, not destruction, but peace. All because one man saw a woman at a bus stop, holding a child. And that child changed the future. Years later, Cale stood in front of the United Planetary. Council Earth, Threxel, and others now united. He was older, wiser, but still kind. "My name is Cale," he said. "I was born human, But I belong to something greater. Not just a planet, not just a species, but a promise. He looked at his mother and father in the front row. A promise, he continued, that no matter how far we go, we remember where we came from, and we walk forward together. The room stood in silence. Then slowly, everyone rose and clapped, a sound that echoed not only in the chamber, but across stars.